Hi guys, my name is Kendall Blom and I'm a facilitator for EALL. I'm also an attorney, so I will be assisting you with getting a grip of the FIRAC case summaries. Now, FIRAC is a section of EALL that we deal with for first year students to assist you to get a feel of a case summary. So it is a combination of a studying skill, which is summarizing and skim reading, and which will help you to be able to formulate the important facts of a case and to be able to identify legal issues in case law. It is not a law faculty subject. It still forms part of EALL, but I'm going to help you from an attorney's perspective, from a practical perspective, so that you will be able to summarize a case going forward in your complete LLB degree, and it will also help you when you move into legal practice one day. So the subject is obviously very important in order for you to obtain your LLB, but the FIRAC skills that you will be learning in this session will also help you in a practical sense one day when you are an attorney. Okay, so when we have a look at case law, which is also known as legal precedent, we have a look at judgments that come from certain cases, and by looking at those judgments, we are able to determine what the outcome was of a specific case. And then we can apply that judgment to specific facts that we might have in cases going forward that could be a bit similar to what we have had previously. And we will then apply what the outcome is of a previous case to our set of facts in this particular case. So, for example, if we know that in a case 5 years ago, the death penalty was declared unconstitutional, if I have a case now where perhaps one of my clients is charged with murder and the state is seeking the death penalty, then I already know that in previous case law, the death penalty was declared unconstitutional. So therefore, the same principle will apply in my current set of facts today. So when we look at case law, it's always very important one day when you are an attorney as well, if you are preparing for a case or preparing to go to court, you will always have a look at the decisions that were made in previous cases that were similar to yours now, and you will have a look at the outcome and the reasoning that the judge used to get to a certain outcome. And by looking at previous cases and previous case law, we can try and predict what the outcome will be of our current case, or we can use the current case law or outcomes of previous cases to help establish our argument and to help build up our argument for our current case. So if we have a look at, for example, I know in a particular case that if I drive into the back of someone else's car, in a previous case, the decision was, if you drive into the back of someone else's car, you are 100% guilty. Now I go to court for a trial where there are 2 cars involved and my client is the person who was driven into from the back, then I can use the previous case law to justify and establish that my client is actually in the stronger legal position. And because of what was found in the previous case, that someone driving into the back of somebody else is 100% guilty, I can use that to prove to the court in my current set of facts why the other person should be found 100% guilty once again. So when we have a look at case law, it is always about continuously building on what we already know and kind of increasing our database, increasing our information bank to be able to increase our knowledge of all the different legal principles, but also to have a look at the way in which legal principles were applied. For instance, if I'm not quite sure, let's say the Criminal Procedure Act, I'm not quite sure how a judge will apply the abolishment of the death penalty, for example. I can have a look at how the Criminal Procedure Act was interpreted and used in previous cases, and that will help me to know what the application will be of the same acts, the same legislation going forward. We can try and almost predict the way in which case law or acts will be interpreted by judges and how they will be applied to any set of facts.